Good afternoon to everyone. Just checking to see. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Excellent. So welcome. Today is live day launch of Real Talks Live. These are going to be afternoon chats where we're going to be having candid discussions about everything in the world, in the professional world. Today's session, I'm going to give you a little bit about myself, who I am, what I stand for, why I do what it is that I do. I think it's very important for you to get to know the person behind something, particularly in the area of personal development, which is something that's very, very close to me. And so going to be putting it out there. So where do we begin? So we'll be starting saying, so I'm Martha DaCosta Sherwood. My organization is called the Cosme Group. It's gone through multiple name changes over the years, and I will tell you all about that because that's part of my story. The thing behind, lots of people ask me, what's the Cosme? And it's part of my name. Funny enough, it was my university login name. And so it was DaCosta Sherwood, and then ME was Martha Elizabeth because that's my name. And it's kind of stuck with me. Now, DaCosta Sherwood is a long name. I'm very proud of it, but it is quite a long name. But I wanted something that represented me and my name, and so I used the Cosme. And so the Cosme, when I very first thought about launching my company, my background's in education. So I was a teacher, and I've got 15 years experience in teaching in the education profession. And so I started as the Cosme Education. Like, that was where I was going to go, down one road using education, because that was the space that I had very much so been involved in, and that's where I started working. And then I decided to make the big old move, and I went to Nigeria. That was a big move for me. And then moving out of that space, I thought, okay, I'm going to be in education, but I'm also going to need to be utilizing the rest of my skills. And whilst I'm an educator, my specialisms were business, personal finance, economics. And so I was very much involved in that kind of space and field. And so I decided to branch out and do some more of the business kind of consulting and things. So I went in and thought, okay, don't narrow yourself, Martha. And I became the Cosme Consulting, which included coaching, training, and consulting in education and in business. Now, I have always wanted to, have my own business and support other people. And I've always wanted to kind of be like a serial entrepreneur. This is something that I have struggled with. Maybe many people have. There are various different areas that I've always been interested in and always been kind of reasonably good at. Now, so even from picking a degree, I didn't just do one, like I didn't single. My degree was in business and psychology. And throughout that, when I was at school, I was quite open. I didn't want to narrow myself and become too specialized down in one area too soon. Something that I always pushed around back to. And even in teaching, my main, as I said, there was quite a few. Business studies is the underlying part of that, then became very much the economics specialist, then ended up in doing personal finance. And alongside that, I've done ICT as well. I absolutely hate it, so I rarely talk about it, but I did also do the ICT part of that. And media, because I done media, psychology naturally, because that's the other part of my degree. You end up kind of going in a few different areas, as well as the topics wise. There were also different fields within that I'd grown to. So behavior management was something that I was a part of. teaching and learning was something that I was a part of. SEND, so supporting students with additional needs, again, something I was very much involved in. And whenever people speak to you, they always say, so what is the area that you could work in? And there was always, I was like, I could literally provide you something of quality. I'm not just saying anything in any of these areas. And sometimes people always give you pushback. And throughout my career, and even particularly in the world of business, when they say, find a niche, break it down, that has always been something that I have kind of struggled with and pushed back on. And so I started my business with the education. I started to open up a little bit more when I went into consulting. And then I decided, actually, do you know what? There's bigger plans for this and where we're going to go. And I moved into the Cosme Group. And that is where it's at now. And the idea is that whilst I'm building my different brands and building the different entities, because there will be more than one, I wanted something that was going to be an umbrella for all of that. And that's where the group came in. And so within that, I utilize my skills. So the heart of it, which is the same as I know, is coaching, consulting, and training. And when people say, how did you get into the professional development field? I say it was literally a natural progression. And it was a natural progression because teaching and learning and supporting students academically is very similar to the personal development realm. And I came across coaching whilst I was teaching. And as soon as I came across it, I just knew it was something for me. I realized this is how I operate. It was the perfect thing for me. And then I very much got involved in coaching, and I started to support teachers in education more and more and more. And so that's how I ended up in coaching. So people sometimes think, okay, so Martha, you're coaching and you're doing things in all these different areas. And what the thing I love about coaching, the beauty I love about coaching, is I'm very much a pure coach. It's about asking higher level questions, really getting in there, because I fully believe in the power of coaching. And that is that you have the answers. You know it. You just need the support and a direction in order to get you where it is. That's very different to consulting, which is going to be providing you with a lot more details. And when it comes to consulting, I'm less wide. I consult in the areas that are very much so specific specialisms. And with my coaching, it's a bit open, it's more open, and I deal with areas that I have greater experience, with my experience as well as kind of my knowledge and education. And so that's where the different parts of things that I'm currently working on and I do is, you will see, particularly here on LinkedIn, it's very much the Martha the Cosme, and that is the personal and professional development arm of that. Okay, and that's where I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, working with women educators and entrepreneurs, kind of to prioritize themselves, because those groups of people can be very dedicated, very much hardworking, and often neglect themselves. And kind of that sort of world have become synonymous with not having time for yourself. And I don't believe that's true. I think you can actually prioritize yourself, okay, and really do things for you and still be great in all of the other areas. In fact, be even better. So very much so by the way of taking care of yourself and making sure you're really working to your purpose, you can actually provide and do better for others. So that's very much what you'll see here on LinkedIn and what we're going to talk about. Also on my personal kind of Instagram, where you can catch me with Martha de Cosme. So on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Clubhouse. Okay, so in Clubhouse, we're going to be having kind of those sorts of conversations at a grander scale, which is not generally specific to women. But then also educators. Okay, so education is something I've always been passionate about, and I always will. And that's where I started. So I also have my education platform where you can find me. So running the Excelling in Teaching program, and that's going to be launching at the end of the month. And so yeah, you can find me on that as well in that area. And I also do personal finance coaching. And again, so that's the Cosme Finance. And again, the idea behind that is finances are important. and the background that I had in personal financial education and the passion that I had for it. And I very much so in my personal life was able to use finances and have good money management in order to achieve some of the typical life goals we have, cars and houses and going on holiday and just generally having that financial security. I had always done that. And so financial coaching is something that I also get involved in. And so they are the different areas. They are the similar but different, and they're important. And I tell you all that because having different areas, people always try to put you into a box or try to tell you have to do something in a particular way. And I think I have struggled because that is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. And I've always been trying to fight being put into these boxes. And I finally decided I'm not going to be put into these boxes. And I believe nobody else should also decide to be put into such boxes. And that's why I'm telling you that, because we're not going to get put in boxes. And I recently came off a retreat where I was working with a group of phenomenal people out of loads of ages and ranges. And the thing that resonated with me is that none of these people were highly specialized in one field. We have a big broad specialism, but they had careers that were expanded across decades and had really currently been working in various different areas. They had been working in various different areas, utilizing their skill sets, and that was what was working for them. And it was like, the penny finally dropped, and I was like, stop fighting it, Martha. These are your areas that you're passionate about, and these are the areas where you can add value. Own it and do it. And so that is exactly what it is that I'm doing. And one of the things that underpins all of that is what people say is my kind of fiery personality. Okay, I have a fiery personality, and I do. And what that means is I would very much say I'm a challenger. I'm definitely a challenger. So I'm not a person who is going to just accept the status quo. That's not what I do. Never done that. And that means that I have, despite the typical kind of disadvantages that you experience anyway, being Black, being female, but also being a challenger means you can rub people the wrong way. And I don't just mean challenging for challenge's sake, but it's important. I think sometimes we are definitely, particularly being British, we like to err on the side of caution, sometimes just kind of conform. We don't like confrontation. But for me, growth happens outside your comfort zone, and often challenging things is very, very necessary. And that's what I'm all about, challenging. And so that's what I'm doing here. So these talks on Thursday, I'm going to be challenging status quos. We're going to be talking about the unspoken. We're going to be, glass ceilings. We're not going to be accepting those. We're going to be saying how and why we should be shattering any sorts of things, any sorts of limiting beliefs, any sorts of systems that are looking to hold us back. And we're just going to say it how it is. We're not going to tiptoe around things. We're going to call things. We're going to call a spade a spade. We're going to say what these things are because it's important. You can't grow and develop and solve a problem if you first don't name it. And that's what we're gonna be doing. And so throughout the week, I will be posting and asking people, to provide any topics or contents or things that they want us to touch on and discuss. So we're talking about things that are relevant, as well as bringing my own experience into that all the time and keeping it very, very real, which is the reason why it's called Real Talks. And I'm really excited and looking forward to it. And so that's just a little bit about me. And I'm going to be bringing myself to all of the talks all of the time, just to identify it and hope that resonates with people. And another really big thing that I think is important for me and how I will be coming and showing up is we hear that thing about where we're talking about professionalism and who we are. And I definitely believe, we have different things in different spaces. The reason why I have different brands and different platforms for the different offerings is because they target different people. The tone is different in certain areas. And so all of those things are the reason for that. Now, that doesn't mean, however, I don't encompass all of those things. I very much do. And for me, one of the biggest problems, is it's almost as though we put on a facade through everything all the time. And people don't believe in bringing up and showing yourself. And that's not me. I bring myself, full self, to everything that I do. So, and I'm not hiding anything. There are things that are private, that people hold private, but there are things that are just, they're okay to be out there. It just depends on what you like and don't like. And I'm going to be mindful of the fact that, you know, certain professions, there are certain etiquettes and certain norms and certain standards within that we all have to adhere to, and that's all up to us. But however, I genuinely believe that our working life is something that we get to the most. Like, our working life time is something that we're in the most. We are there for the majority of that time. And therefore, I don't feel it's right that you are not your true self and comfortable during that time at all. And so, with that being said, I'm going to be bringing Martha to all of this. This is Martha. And so, if Martha's style, thoughts, belief, processes, and what she do isn't for you, then just don't sign in. Just don't sign in. But we're not going to be telling people how they should or shouldn't be doing things. And this is about us breaking norms as well. So it's really important that we do that. And so, yeah, so that's going to be what we're going to be talking about. Like I said, I'm really excited for all of that. So please do tune in, you know, and follow me. We'll be on Thursdays at 1 p.m. having real talks about things in the profession that we need to kind of candid talks that we need to talk about, and some solutions, because I'm solution focused. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.